Senators give their nod to two ministerial nominees in what can be seen as a support for the executive in expanding the frontiers of government in action. This comes as the Federal Executive Council approves a 54 billion naira road project cutting across 3 states in the Federation. For mothers whose nature-given blessing is to wash infant heads, they're in good state to know how to mitigate what pinches their children. Some mothers are therefore advocating changes in school curriculum. And today is World Press Freedom Day. We're bringing you our focus on this, just as the federal government is happy that the practice of journalism is unfettered in Nigeria. A very good evening to you. This is our package tonight on News Extra, as usual, this Wednesday. On NTA, I am Fatima Abbas Hassan. Now let's begin this way. The federal government is to spend about 54 billion naira for the construction of Aba-Odokwani Calabar Road that cuts across 3 states in the eastern parts of the country. It's over now to State House correspondent Jide Onifade for the details of this and other resolutions at the Federal Executive Council meeting today in Abuja.
It is yet another day for the meeting of the Federal Executive Council members at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. While awaiting the commencement of the meeting, members are in great mood, exchanging pleasantries and possibly views on the achievement of each ministry, department and agency, especially as the 2nd anniversary of the Buhari presidency draws near. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says Nigerians have been following closely the steps being taken by the administration, and the successes recorded would be shared with Nigerians come May 29th.
Going to mark it because we have a lot of stories to tell the world. We are proud that within 2 years we've made tremendous, progress. We've been able to restructure the economy on a very sound footing. We've succeeded in not just looking for quick fixes, but we are addressing the fundamental issues of our economy. And
back to the business of the day, Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, informed the press of the award of contract for some road projects.
The award of the Odukwani to Ikot-Ekpene Road, linking Akwa Ibom and Cross River states, with a spur to Ibidep Itam. The road project was approved for award to Mrs. Julius Berger PLC.
Minister of State for Aviation Adi Sirika says over 1.5 billion naira would be spent to undertake some projects in the aviation sector.
Now today in council we took the memo for the appointment of those transaction advisors to carry out the advisory service on establishment of national carrier, establishment of aviation leasing company, establishment of maintenance, repair and overhaul center, establishment of an aerotropolis or airport city, as you may call it, and then, of course, the concession of our airports.
Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, presented a memo to the council on the need to revive some of the 116 abandoned projects in the sector, especially the Gari Irrigation Project.
Gari Irrigation Project, which is a 2,300 hectare irrigation project that straddles Kano and Jigawa states. This project was started during the PTF days in 1998 and had attained 50% completion when the PTF was winded up and has remained abandoned for 17 years.
On the sideline, the 3-man investigative panel set up by President Muhammadu Buhari has concluded its investigations. It is now scheduled to present its report to the president on Monday. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
Many thanks, Jide. In the meantime, the senior special assistant to the President of National Assembly Matters, Senator Ita Enang, says the people of the Southeast and Southwest will remain internally grateful to the Buhari administration for the award of the 54 billion naira contract for the dualization of Aba-Odokwani Calabar Federal Highway. Senator Ita Enang stated this while speaking to State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting.
10, 12 years, but President Buhari said this must be done for these people to relieve their sufferings. I can't imagine the joy of the entire people of this area, and I am here to express our appreciation to him. That road being dualized now will rejuvenate the economic life of this area, and the people can't just but say, Mr. President, thank you. We are more than grateful. Thank you, Nigeria. Thank you, Nigeria.
And away from the Federal Executive Council, we move to the legislature in synergy with the executive. The Senate has confirmed the nomination of 2 ministerial appointments. The appointments are to fill in vacant positions from Kogi and Gombe states on the presidential list. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayanu has the details.
The confirmed nominees are Stephen Ikani Ocheni from Kogi State and Suleiman Zarma Hassan from Gombe State. Stephen Ocheni was first to appear before the Senate and was asked questions by senators ranging from the indivisibility of Nigeria to youth unemployment.
Being able to realize enough revenue to be able to actualize the proposals in our budget.
Suleiman Zarma Hassan, who had earlier undergone similar screening as an ambassadorial nominee at the Senate committee level, was asked few questions, after which he was asked to take a bow.
The technology has gone further because we have real-time imageries that can even pick people or can pick density of people depending on the software that is used and the satellite imageries that are used. So I think this can be used both by INEC and NPC simultaneously.
Stephen Ocheni replaces late Ocholi, who died in a car accident last year, while Suleiman Hassan replaces Amina Mohammed, who was appointed Deputy Secretary General at the United Nations. Meanwhile, the Senate has resolved that all resources misapplied by public officials from the internally displaced persons' proceeds should be retrieved, and anybody found culpable should be duly prosecuted. The resolution was contained in a report of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Mounting Humanitarian Crisis in the Northeast submitted at Wednesday's plenary.
Since it was established that PINE was paying less attention to the critical needs of IDPs in the form of housing, the bulk of the resources were used for issues that were not addressing the immediate needs of the IDPs.
Outside plenary and in commemoration of the World Press Freedom Day 2017, Senate President Bukola Saraki interacted with the Senate Press Corps.
I want to find out so that I can better inform Nigerians in line with what you said earlier. Why, hearing from the Senate President, why his inauguration is still hanging?
Is that there is a process to this. And when I get this, I always get it from, there are always two sides to the story. I have a senator who said this is the case. I refer to legal to give me an opinion and advise me. And once they advise me on what is, I follow that.
In the meantime, Senate PDP caucus has frowned at the detention of former governors of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, Gabriel Susum of Benue State, and Babangida Aliyu, Niger State. The caucus said it is expecting nothing less than fair hearing, otherwise the detention will not be justified. From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayan, NTA News.
Now, close to that ending, a Niger State High Court has granted bail to former governor of Niger State, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu, and the PDP gubernatorial candidate in the 2015 general elections, Umar Mohammed Nasko. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo reports that the accused persons were arraigned for alleged breach of trust, conversion of 2 billion naira to personal use. Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu is also accused of separately converting over 2 billion naira belonging to the state government for personal use.
This is the main entrance of the High Court complex, where security operatives checked and allowed only those that are relevant in. In a separate ruling, Justice Muhammad Aliyu Mayaki, after reviewing the submissions of the defense counsel, urging the court to grant bail to their clients, and the submissions of the prosecution, asking the court to deny bail to the accused persons, arguing that they may likely jump bail if granted. The judge agreed with the submissions of the defense counsel and ruled in favor of the applicants. Justice Muhammad Aliyu Mayaki granted bail to the former governor, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu, in the sum of 150 million naira, with two surety in like sum, who reside within the jurisdiction of the court and are to deposit certificate of occupancy of landed property worth not less than 200 million naira. Umar Muhammad Nasko was granted bail in the sum of 100 million naira and two surety in like sum with 150 million naira worth of landed property within the jurisdiction of the court.
The judge showed tremendous courage and he also demonstrated good knowledge of the law. I'll reflect on it. I will make efforts towards ensuring compliance with the bail conditions. If we don't succeed, I'll think about it. There are procedures through which one can reapproach the court.
Shortly after the ruling, the prison vans were seen leaving the court premises without the accused persons, an indication that the accused persons perfected their bail conditions. In Mina, Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
Well, if the pace of Nigeria's fight against corruption is to move faster, a number of legislations currently before the National Assembly must be passed. Now, this is the position of prosecutors and legal experts who converged on Abuja this Wednesday for a workshop on the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. Femi Okeo completes that report.
2 years after the Administration of Criminal Justice Act came into being, and 2 years after the intense fight of the Buhari administration against corruption, there are people who will tell you that we are yet to see the effect of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act in the fight against corruption. That is why this workshop thinks that the passage of these other subsidiary laws would help the fight against corruption. The legislations include Proceeds of Crimes Act, Witness Protection Act, National Financial Intelligence Act, and the Whistleblowers Act, which is already in operation as a policy. Convener of the workshop explains that the Administration of Criminal Justice Act needs constant retouching in line with observations made in its usage.
Stakeholders, including even the members of the press, need to be familiar, need to have a deeper understanding and knowledge of the provisions of the Act. So this workshop is aimed at receiving the inputs of stakeholders. If what we have written does not represent the practice, that will not be appropriate.
Attending the workshop are prosecutors from anti-corruption agencies such as the EFCC and ICPC, the police, and judges of the Federal High Court, along with Chief Registrar and top officials of the court. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
The Executive Council of the Code of Conduct Bureau has urged the public not to be deceived by the falsehood being spread that chairman and members of the Bureau have been sacked by a federal high court. A statement by the head of press and public relations of the Bureau says the clarification becomes necessary over a series of misrepresentations in section of the media on the ruling of Justice Binta Nyako last Friday. It says the Bureau has filed an appeal on the matter. The statement advised public officers nationwide to remain compliant with the provisions of the Constitution relating to their code of conduct. The statement states further that all functions of the Bureau remain uninterrupted and are being optimally implemented through its headquarters in Abuja and the 36 states offices. Now we go to the fourth estate of the realm. Today is World Press Freedom Day. With Nigeria joining the global community on the celebration, concerns have been raised on the imperative of full protection and guarantees of the press towards promoting the goals of a just and fair country, sustainably driven on the path of growth and development. Hamza Musa Makarfi reports that beyond the day, practitioners also ask questions on improved welfare package. The report.
Globally, the press encounters extreme situations by way of inhibitions to practice, compelling journalists to abandon their cause or even pay the supreme sacrifice. About 2 weeks ago, a Bayelsa State broadcaster was killed. He had the name, the famous man, a radio. Figures by Reporters Without Borders show 8 journalists shared a similar fate, as 197 were imprisoned in 2017 worldwide.
On World Press Freedom Day, I call for an end to all crackdowns against journalists, because a free press advances peace and justice for all. When we protect journalists, their words and pictures can change our world.
Beyond bringing attention to the predicament of the press, former NUJ president and lawmaker Sani Zoro and Suleiman Ismaila Inchi, law lecturer, agree on practitioners promoting constitutional democracy and unity as well as development of the nation.
That is the one that is to scrutinize public officials, to tell truth to power, to be able to show news in an unbiased form and so on.
Certain challenges emerge because certain national values are being undermined. So it is for the press, as a very critical institution, to identify those national values that form the foundation of our nation state and continuously remind our leaders and our followers that, hey, we are a society built on certain fundamental values, and we can't afford to undermine those values.
While practitioners appeal to authorities on the entrenchment of free society, they also raise issues on welfare.
To call on the federal government to ensure that it provides security for practicing journalists. We have some professions that you can't even play with their welfare.
There should be a special kind of arrangement for those who do the kind of job that journalists do.
The government expects partnership, friendship, and understanding. It may not be coming all of the time from all of the directions, but our expectation is that for a very long time, Nigerians have yearned for a government that is caring, that is not a thieving administration, a government that is socially concerned.
The way to know a society is free is whether its press is free or not, according to American statesman Alexander Hamilton, and this may just sustain an international appeal as the press continuously navigates the terrain of its practice. Hamza Musa Magadipi, NTA News.
And still on media affairs, the federal government has restated the commitment of the Buhari administration to upholding the freedom of the press. In a statement to mark the World Press Freedom Day, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, described as inaccurate the recent survey by Reporters Without Borders, which alleged that Nigeria's press freedom rating has been on a sustained decline since 2015. He said despite the inaccurate and fake news saturating the media space, the federal government has not put a single journalist behind bars as a result of this or her professional conduct. Lai Mohammed said even though there are reports that some states are being hard on some journalists and bloggers for alleged misconduct, it has not been the policy of the federal government to join issues with the media because of its unflinching commitment to upholding the tenets of democracy, which included free press and freedom of speech. He said the recent incident involving the Punch correspondent covering the State House is an aberration, adding that the speed with which the order barring the correspondent from the State House was reversed has lent credence to the fact that this government is not out to muzzle the press. The minister recalled that the accreditation of the current chairman of the State House Press Corps, Ubale Musa, which was withdrawn by the previous administration, was immediately restored upon the assumption of office of the Buhari administration in order to give the media unhindered access to the seat of power. He therefore affirmed the pledge and readiness of the administration to always create a conducive environment for the media to thrive and to continue to discharge its constitutional mandate without hindrance. Now, there is another one. The United Nations World Press Freedom Day, the day can seem insignificant until one discovers that reporters in countries like Thailand have been barred from celebrating the day. Though Nigeria is ranked low on the issues of press freedom, Executive Director, Administration and Training, NTAA, says the country is far better than many nations.
Nigeria, when we see the government be subjected at times to what I may describe as ridicule and all sorts of abuse by the press, and yet nobody is punished. So I think Nigeria enjoy a very high level of press freedom.
People report issues as they see them on social media, and we as professionals will run after such angles. I think that is wrong.
A journalist is supposed to be free to say what he or she feels is the right thing.
I'm still an undergraduate journalist, so by the time I finish and everything, the freedom will increase then.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, in a message to mark the day, appealed for an end to all crackdown against journalists, saying a free press advances peace and justice for all. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says plans are rife to forge a stronger partnership with the United Nations World Tourism Organization and other global agencies to promote Nigerian tourism, leveraging its comparative advantage, which includes Nollywood, music and culture. The minister disclosed this at the annual general meeting of the Nigerian Association of Tour Operators, NATOP, in Lagos. Jane Ojukwu was there and now reports.
The minister explained that the present administration recognizes the potential of tourism to grow the economy, which informed the need to reposition the sector towards realizing this objective. He pointed out that the government requires partnership with all stakeholders, including the private sector, for the provision of the necessary skills, competencies, and other requisites for growth and progress.
We continue to work with the private sector. We are working with both UNWTO and CNN to bring our film industry, our music industry into global limelight.
Former Governor Cross River State, Senator Leo Imoke, stated that Nigeria is endowed with resources that could make other countries grin with envy. All that is required, he said, is vision, right policies, infrastructure, and positive attitude to make tourism a major revenue earner.
I always believe very strongly that the private sector should lead in the industry and the government should provide the strong support.
This year we focus on the future of tourism in Nigeria by creating the necessary platform and mainstreaming the youths.
Nigeria has a huge tourism market that is religious based. It's just that we need more people to come.
But we have agreed amongst ourselves, even including ANJET, to ensure that we drive tourism to the next level.
The event had as its theme positioning tourism within the Nigerian economic space. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
Now, let's take a look at the security matters. The Nigerian Air Force show of force and commitment towards degrading Boko Haram terrorists in the Northeast has again yielded success. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ola Tokumbo Adesanya, says intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance exercise conducted revealed hideout of remnants of the insurgents in a village 3.42 kilometers northeast of Mongodosum. Battle damage assessment after air interdiction mission also revealed that several leaders and followers of the Boko Haram terrorists were killed and a sizable cache of weapons and equipment were destroyed. Now, experts on Good Morning Nigeria program advocated the establishment of national structure to curb proliferation of small arms and light weapons in the country. Timothy Yusuf reports that opinion was unanimous that urgent measures need to be taken to take arms out of illegal hands. The details.
Nigeria is said to have about 60% of illicit arms and light weapons in West Africa. And guests on Good Morning Nigeria program say domestication of international treaties, as well as the adoption of the ECOWAS recommendation for the establishment of commissions on small arms and light weapons by member nations, are key to addressing the menace in the country.
There is really a difference between a committee and a commission. Committee cannot have the powers and the resources available to a commission. If you have a commission, you are more in compliance with ECOWAS prescription on the issue. So the reason we do not have a commission in Nigeria at the moment is not because there is a lack of will, it's rather that the law is not yet in place, and we are working on it.
Without an appropriate legislation, certainly this fight will continuously be a fight that will keep doing it. So it's important that we domesticate, particularly international instruments, the UN Program of Action, the UN Firearms Protocol, the Arms Trade Treaty, the ECOWAS Convention. At the continental level, we have the silencing of the guns by 2020.
Legal scholar Dr. Ibrahim Abdullahi of the Usman Dan Fodio University, Sokoto, advocated adequate legislation and judicial intervention, while Dr. Michael Ogwe, a political scientist, sees the whistleblowing policy being introduced by the government on illegal arms as a right step in the right direction of mopping up illicit arms from the society.
Penalties provided for under the Firearms Act should equally be reviewed. For example, the issue of giving an option of fine for a person found to be in possession of firearms should be reviewed, so that you now have a stipulation whereby you give life imprisonment, and it should specifically be provided for that it should not be among the list of offenses that a pardon can be given. This will serve as a deterrent for anybody to attempt to be in possession of an illicit weapon.
We need to also improve the standard of living. People need to be sure that they're able to get food to eat. People must not be hungry, so hungry to the extent that they're pushed to go and look for arms or get food for themselves to eat. And people also need to be ensured that their lives are protected.
Head of the Anti-Terrorism Unit Nigeria Police, ACP Tolani Alausa, while acknowledging the enormity of the issue, said the police is working with other security agencies to tackle the menace.
We have men at the border patrol, but the checks is mainly by the customs and the immigration.
The guests were unanimous in suggesting that the citizens also have a role to play by feeding relevant agencies with information on gun running and illicit ownership of firearms. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And still on security, the Nigeria Police says it is partnering with the United States Embassy to build more capacity to overcome security challenges, especially that of the northeast of the country. Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris stated this at the inauguration of U.S. Police Advisor's Office located at the Force Headquarters in Abuja. Edino Justice now reports.
The Inspector General of Police, while commending the U.S. Embassy's support and cooperation in the areas of security training, human rights protection, logistics, and police curriculum development, urged them to do more. He noted that the opening of U.S. Security Advisor's Office within the Force Headquarters premises will deepen the cooperation.
To enable us to, one, to dominate, we are taking over in the northeast now. Two is also to dominate the Niger Delta area, all those creeks where we're having problems. And I believe the United States have the capacity and the capability to support us in that respect.
So we can develop a very close relationship, and that there's no, like we said before, there's no barriers in between us now. I'll work directly with them, they'll work directly with me, and we'll be able to provide resources and assistance.
The office is located in the police legal block known as Kavaru Tinubu House. Edino Justice, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Representatives put their eyes on the health states of the internally displaced persons. The details of these are more when we return in just a moment. Stay with us.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity, which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
His Royal Highness the Emir of Dutse Alhaji Dr. Nuhu Muhammad Sunusi CON invites the general public to the Tabanin of Alhaji Nasir Haladi Dano as Dang Amanar Dutse on Friday 5th May 2017 by 10 a.m. at Emir's Palace Dutse, Jigawa State. A special dava will come on Thursday 4th May 2017 by 4 p.m. at Dutse 8 Ground. Special guest of honor, His Majesty Professor Theophilus Prince will CFR Amanyanabo of Kalabari, Royal Father of the Day, Over Adeye Enitan Oguwusi Ojaja II, Oni of Ife. Chief Host, Alhaji Muhammad Badr Abubakar MON MNI, Governor, Jigawa State. Governors, members of National and State Assemblies, ministers and other important personalities are expected to grace the occasion. Announcer, Organizing Committee.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth is in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
The Plateau State government cordially invites you to the Plateau State MSME Clinic 2017 with theme Growing Viable MSMEs on the Plateau.
Special guest of honor, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osibajo, Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Guest of honor, Haja Aisha Abubakar, Minister of State, Trade and Investment.
Chief host, Right Honorable Simon Bako Lalong, Executive Governor of Plateau State.
Date, Wednesday 3rd and Thursday 4th May 2017.
Venue, Polo Fields, Joseph Gomwalk Road, Jos.
Time, 10 a.m.
Plateau State MSME Clinic, powered by Plateau State Government, supported by ITF.
Announcer,
Ezekiel Ngamos, Chairman, Central Planning Committee.
Wake up on a Mocha mattress and wake up to feeling good.
From the south to the northeast, southeast to the northwest, southwest to the north central, the Future Assured project and its component, Get Involved, is restoring hope to millions of Nigerian women and children.
We are actually doing a lot under Future Assured, the program of Her Excellency Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari. And I believe what we are doing so far is impacting positively on the lives of women and children in Nigeria. particularly those in the internally displaced camps across the nation.
Get involved. Support the Future Assured initiative. Email programs@futureassured.org.ng. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
You're welcome back. Thank you for joining us again on NTA News Extra tonight. Now, the House of Representatives has stressed the need to address what it described as high rate of HIV infections at the internally displaced persons camp in the Northeast. The legislators observed that all the 27 IDP camps in the area should be provided with HIV counseling and antiretroviral drugs. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo has more on that report.
Recent reports from the Borno State Agency for the Control of HIV and AIDS shows that 512 new cases of HIV infections were recorded at the internally displaced persons camp in the state. Worried by this development, members of the House of Representatives are now concerned that the rate of sexual abuse in the camps is increasing and needs immediate solution. This came in a motion moved by Representative Aishatu Dokun from Gombe State.
That assessment results showed none of the 27 camps were providing HIV/AIDS awareness campaign, antiretroviral refills, continuous HIV counseling and testing.
One of the issues, again, that needs to be addressed in the Northeast is the issue of psychosocial therapy, because a lot of people have been so badly traumatized with the challenges of Boko Haram.
Unscrupulous camp officials who, in the form of sex, for money, food, and freedom of movement, demand or extort for some services from people that are disadvantaged. Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious matter.
The House mandated its committees on IDPs, healthcare services to assess the problems in the camps and report back to the House in 4 weeks.
Official report shows that not fewer than 5,000 internally displaced persons in the 27 camps in Borno State are currently living with the virus. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Now, the wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has urged concerned persons in the nation's education sector to develop a new curriculum that will inculcate the dangers of drugs and substance abuse among the youths. This was in a message to a drug awareness and advocacy training organized by the Northern Governors' Wives Forum in Abuja. Ado Adamu also was there.
About 40% of Nigerian youths are said to abuse drugs and substances with far-reaching social, economic and health implications. Worried by the increasing figures, the members of the Northern Governors' Wife Forum is making the fight against the menace one of their intervention priorities. To achieve this, the forum organized a drug awareness and advocacy training for key stakeholders with the aim of implementing a comprehensive drug intervention project to address the compounding situation in northern Nigeria. At the event, wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by the wife of the Speaker, House of Representatives, Gimbia Yakubu Dogara, thanked the Northern Governors' Wife Forum for coming together to give the fight a regional approach.
Drug abuse is a serious health and social issue, which is leading cause of school dropouts, mental health deterioration, as well as crime and violence. A considerable number of victims of drug abuse are young people and alarmingly women.
Chairperson of the Northern Governors' Wife Forum, Hajia Asthma Abdulaziz Yari, urged participants to take advantage of the advocacy training and implement a regional approach on fighting the menace.
The Northern Governors' Wives cannot do it alone. In as much as we are mothers and leaders in our own states, but we need your help. We have to come out and say, yes, this is a problem in the north. We have to come out and say, yes, let's do something about it.
In their goodwill messages, representatives of the chairman of Northern Governors Forum, Governor Kashim Shetima of Borno State, chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and other key stakeholders commended the Northern Governors' Wife Forum for their initiative and called for more collaboration.
With this advocacy training by the Northern Governors' Wife Forum,
The northern stakeholders are sensitized to put in perspective a regional action plan that will fight the menace of substance and drugs abuse, and the fight from here is being taken to the grassroots. In Abuja, Ado Ademwalso, NTA News.
Thank you, Ado. And still remaining with the issue of health, available data indicates that as many as 400 million people suffer from some form of asthma in the world, and there are 250,000 deaths each year linked to the disease. It is against this background that health correspondent Rabi Abdallah takes a look at the prevention, management and treatment of asthma.
Asthma is caused by swelling in the breathing tubes that carry air in and out of the lungs.
The inflammation will make, you can see the patency of this. Over the years, it can become this. Causes, the genetic factor, and of course, the environment. For those people that bleach their oil, during cooking, and of course, this brings a lot of fumes, and that can trigger asthma. The excretors from cockroaches, the urine and all that, when they get dry, they get aerosolized, and of course, when an asthmatic takes it in, between 15 and 20 million Nigerians are at risk.
Symptoms of asthma include wheezing and tightness in the chest. Inhalers can be used to prevent and relieve the symptoms of asthma, while sufferers are advised to own a device called peak flow meter.
You can monitor the asthma. Peak flow meter is just a device, that you blow into, and then you are able to, it gives you a recording. For example, you get 500, when everything is okay, that's your best value, 500. If you have maybe difficulty with breathing, you blow into that same, and then you get maybe 350. You know that will be about 60-70% of the. Yes, you have an attack, but it's not. We'll say that it's not severe. But by the time you blow in, and you get 200, that is below 50% of your personal best, and that is a severe attack. That is not the time to stay at home, or you start using your inhaler. That is the time to start coming to the hospital.
Stay in a very, very healthy environment. Chemical substances has to be avoided as much as possible. The trees, plants are also very good.
While many other diseases are decreasing, studies, however, show that asthma continue to increase with a projection of 500 million sufferers by the year 2025. In Abuja, Rabi Abdallah, NTA News.
Well, useful information there for especially some of us who are afflicted with that disease. Now, to mitigate the impact of road traffic crashes and ensure that adequate measures are put in place for prompt response and efficient rescue of victims, the Federal Road Safety Corps has organized a pre-hospital trauma life support training in Abuja. Ali Utukuru was there and now brings us the details.
With the increase in motorization and dependence on road transportation, the possibility of road traffic crashes cannot be ruled out. Rescue operations such as this is an integral component of the duties of the Federal Road Safety Corps.
As part of its efforts to enhance the capacity of its personnel, the FRSC has organized a pre-hospital trauma life support training in order to expose its patrolmen to the modern techniques of safe crash victims handling.
The Corps Marshal says the training is necessary as the 2017 strategic goals of the Corps include achieving an improved post-crash care, which will further reduce crashes by 15% and fatality by 25%.
The implication of this is that we need to train our personnel and ensure that, especially on trauma, that we're trained. And make sure that this training is continuous.
At the end of the training, scheduled to last 4 weeks, officers are expected to be equipped with skills on how to manage crash victims according to global best practices. In Abuja, Ali Utukur, NTA News.
Following successes recorded through participation by major oil and gas producing countries over the years at the Offshore Technology Conference, Nigeria will from 2018 replicate an African version of the world's largest energy conference and exhibition. This is the submission of Nigeria's Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Dr. Emmanuel Ibe Kachiku, at the 2017 OTC in Houston, Texas, the United States. Energy correspondent Hawa Salio Adama has the details.
Since its first outing in 1969, the Offshore Technology Conference and Exhibition held annually in Houston, Texas, has focused on the development of offshore energy resources, primarily oil and gas, providing the right environment for interaction and exchange of latest technology. Nigeria, like most of the over 100 participating countries, has demonstrated capacity to play in the league.
There's a lot of focus on more efficient solutions using data and robot technology. I think there's a lot of opportunities in Nigeria.
However, with renewed commitment to open up a new frontier of movement into the Nigerian territory, Minister of State, Petroleum Resources believes the time to reassess priorities is now.
Very excited about some of the things that I saw in Nigerian stands. There are lots of Nigerian companies that are working very hard, and we must begin to see how we give opportunities to those companies to grow. Time has come to begin to ask some very basic questions in country. How can we produce oil cheap? How can we address some of the things that make people stay away from us, whether it's militancy, whether it's security?
And this, experts say, is even more urgent considering developments in the sector.
By the time they come in, exhibit, interact with our people, it will create a better image for our country. We have fabrication yards in Nigeria that can fabricate vessels, fabricate most of the things required in the industry. With the promotion of gas monetization projects in Nigeria, the gas flare issues, you can see today that we have gone from 70% of flaring our gas to about 12% today.
No doubt the Offshore Technology Conference provides a conducive environment for professional networking. But if Nigerians must begin to take the lead in investing in Nigeria, as emphasized by Minister Ibe Kachiku, then the proposal of an African OTC in Nigeria, participants here say, may just be the right step in that direction. In Houston, Texas, I'm Hawa Salihu Adama, NTA News.
And back home, a group of the 2014 National Conference delegates is appealing to the federal government to consider the report of the defunct conference for the benefit of the nation. This was during the reunion meeting of the delegates held in Abuja. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Birninkudu has the details.
The 2014 National Conference was constituted by the government of former President Goodluck Jonathan to address what it calls issues of national importance emanating from divergent views of Nigerians. After the conference in 2014, nothing was done by even the past government that convened the conference towards consideration of the report. While the northern delegates recently kicked against the adoption of the report, the delegates at this meeting are calling for the consideration of the conference outcome. They cited issues of 5% budgetary allocation to prospect mineral resources, developing public-private partnership, and promoting science and technology sector, which some observers believe are part of the priorities of the current administration.
Science, engineering, and technology give nations the competitive and developmental edge.
We wouldn't say about 600 recommendations or plus. We don't say implement every single one of them, but certainly some fundamental ones can be recommended, can be implemented.
But the recommendations dealing with the constitutional amendments, in my opinion, need urgent attention.
The meeting also threw its weight behind the report of the conference, which recommended the creation of additional 18 states on the basis of viability and historical antecedents of the areas. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Birninkudu, NTA News.
Now, why do people acquire education? Is it for meal ticket, for freedom or self-reliance? This question that has been consistently asked through the ages was re-echoed by former President Olusegun Obasanjo at the second quarterly distinguished lecture by the National Universities Commission, NUC, in Abuja. Franca Uzomaolua was there and now reports.
There has been growing concern on the curriculum and course content of many universities in Nigeria. While many believe it does not address the skills gap, others demand an improvement in quality assurance. Based on this, the National Universities Commission's second distinguished lecture, presided over by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, focused on the curriculum.
One important aspect in a dynamic society, in a dynamic situation, is that the curriculum must be innovated, invigorated, re-engineered, and be made dynamic.
The lecture seeks to address peculiar problems in the Nigerian university system by reinventing the curricula.
NUC is more than ever before committed to engendering flexibility and innovation in the development of university curricula in Nigeria.
Former NUC Executive Secretary and Professor of Science and Computer Education, Peter Okebukola, on the subject matter says, with an outdated course content, the review of universities' curricula has become more urgent.
Yes, you can have a good curriculum, but if you don't have the enabling client to deliver that curriculum accurately, then you are going to get an achieved curriculum that will be severely deficient. Get the following to be equally nice: good quality, well-motivated teachers, good quality functioning facilities.
Issues of promoting entrepreneurship studies in universities and making the curriculum to meet industry demands formed part of discussions. With rising challenges in the technology of the 21st century, educationists say emphasis must be on ensuring conducive learning environment for delivering a curriculum that will make Nigerian graduates nationally relevant and globally competitive. Franca Uzomaolua, NTA News.
And the booms of the business sector comes in after these messages. You cannot afford to miss that. Join us again.
Chewing gum neutralizes bad odor. It doesn't just disguise them, it gives you real minty breath.
Where is the pulp? The pulp. Where is the pulp? Where is the pulp?
Taste the goodness of real orange pulp in every gulp.
Where's the pulp?
5 Alive Pulpy Orange. Now in your neighborhood.
My promise to my child. I am not your friend. I'm your mother. I will stalk you, debate you, and hunt you down if I have to. Because when it comes to protecting you, there's no such thing as too tough. That's why every night, I insist on Baygon Multi-Insect Killer for tough mosquito protection before bedtime. So I know my loved ones can fall asleep protected. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Everyday air. Ordinary air. And then there's TomTom Air. There's Air, and then there's TomTom Air. What are you breathing? New TomTom 5-piece pack.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
You're welcome back. You're still on to NTA News Extra on the network service of the NTA. Federal government takes a bold step to enhance the development of micro, small and medium enterprises through a new initiative that will facilitate their access to finance. A new framework to regulate operations of business development service providers has been launched in Lagos. The details in our business news with Vieira Chungoba.
Welcome to Business News segment. I am Vieira Chumuba. As part of conscious effort by the federal government to boost productivity, competitiveness and survival rate of micro, small and medium enterprises in the country, a new platform aimed at addressing the financial constraints of MSMEs has been unveiled in Lagos. The new platform, known as Credit Information Portal, is put together by the Growth and Employment in States Project.
We have micro, small and medium enterprise development fund of 220 billion. Most people are not aware of that. With this, they will key into the portal and they'll get the information they need.
The essence of doing that is to give a very, very good initiative which will help in the development of the MSME subsector.
Let's now see how equities fared on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange market.
Market capitalization was 9 trillion naira, while the all-share index closed at 26,116.79 points. On the whole, investors bought more than 264 million shares, valued at 2.89 billion naira, in 3,958 deals. Fitson Health, with a 12 kobo gain, led others on the gainers table. It was followed by O&O, which added 4 kobo to its share price. Unity Bank, with a 4 kobo loss, was top in the losers category, closely followed by 7-Up, which depreciated by 4 naira 25 kobo.
Stock market report concludes our package on Business News segment. NTA News Extra continues after this time out. Stay tuned.
Now, Dangote Flour Mills PLC says it will continue to improve the quality of its products to the satisfaction of consumers across the country. The executive officer of the company, Thabo Mabe, said this during the unveiling of the company's new product, Dangote Pasta Excellent in Kanu. Muhammad Rabiu Ali has that report.
Dangote Flour Mills PLC commenced operation in 1999 as a subsidiary of Dangote Industries Limited, which produces and manufactures flour, wheat, spaghetti, among other foods, for local and international consumption. To meet the need of consumers and improve its market equity share, Dangote Flour has rebranded its pasta product with new packaging. Executive Officer of Dangote Flour, Mr. Thabo Mabe, says the idea behind rebranding is to reduce thickness and improve taste to satisfy consumers' needs.
Never find a formulation, a base formulation of pasta which is durum inclusive. So durum is there as a very strong ingredient into the pasta to make it more elastic, but not to gum.
It took us probably like 6 to 8 months to be able to have the right combination for us to have that strong pasta that is tasty at the same time and is non-sticky at all.
The taste is excellent in the mouth, it is nutritious.
The unveiling of the new Excellente Dangote pasta brought together key distributors, businessmen, as well as consumers, appreciating the product and thirst for better cooking.
I tried it myself and I was happy with the consistency of the pasta itself.
Dangote Pasta Excellente is now available in the market and shops across the country. The event featured film shows named The Promise, promoting a new product. From Kano, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
And elsewhere, the new Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, Adebayo Shomefun, has promised staff of the organization a review of the welfare package to keep them motivated in order to move the fund to greater heights. He gave the assurance while assuming duty at the corporate headquarters of the NSITF in Abuja. Emmanuel Ayimiro reports.
Taking over the mantle of leadership from the immediate past acting managing director of NSITF, Ismail Agaka, the new chief executive officer, Adebayo Shomefun, says he's impressed about the performance of the fund, but wants the cooperation of all staff to enable NSITF deliver on its mandate of paying compensation to workers. He led 3 other new executive directors to a tour of the offices as part of familiarization with members of staff.
The result of hard work is what? More work. We know that if you are motivated, you will do better than this. And by the grace of God, when we are living here, we are going to leave NSITF a better place than we met it.
We are here as a team. We will continue to work as a team. God will keep us together as a team for us to achieve that which we have been destined to achieve.
You should always feel very, very free with us, right? And you should also give us excellent advice.
You will do your best to work to see how we can increase the revenue, quadruple it, and you will get more.
Members of the fund pledged their cooperation with the new team. Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
A special task force to investigate and prosecute electricity offenders has been inaugurated by the federal government. The inauguration was done by the Ministry of Justice in collaboration with the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company PLC. Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji has more on that.
Committed to curbing losses occasioned by meter tampering and bypass, illegal connections, theft and vandalism of electricity infrastructure, among other offenses, the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company said part of its strategy at creating more awareness is the introduction of the Electricity Theft Information Booklet, which will guide investigators, prosecutors, and security agencies tasked with the responsibility of bringing offenders to book. Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation inaugurated the task force.
Your job from today is to work assiduously in collaboration with Abuja Electricity Distribution Company to investigate and prosecute all cases of electricity theft. Your commitment in carrying out this assignment will not only bring to book the offenders, it will boost power supply and economic activities within the area of coverage.
In order to transform the sector, this is a significant step because from now onwards we now have a task team whose objective is to bring down that scourge so that we can start seeing efficiency in the sector. We start seeing more money being saved, more money to pay the market. More money means that the companies can now do more in terms of improvement programs.
There's also the need to create awareness about the adverse effect of electricity theft, both in terms of the quality of service people are receiving from the distribution companies, as well as the overall impact, adverse impact on the economy.
They added that losses caused by electricity-related offenses are resulting in energy distortions and pose significant threats to the national electricity supply value chain. The 18-member Special Task Force on the investigation and prosecution of electricity theft have assured of their commitment to hit the ground running. in the protection of power installations, such as the one behind me, and many others across the country. In Abuja, I'm Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji, NTA News.
In the meantime, there are calls for active involvement of the private sector in employment generation, in closing the existing gap of poor workers' remuneration for industrial harmony and growth. Talatu Ezirike reports that this was part of submissions on NTA's Current Affairs program, Tuesday Live.
Government and workers do have frictions that often result in strikes or protest, which in turn undermines industrial harmony or trust. Analysts say topmost concern for workers in Nigeria is an increase in the minimum wage of 18,000 naira to meet modern-day realities.
A state is telling us it is unable to pay, but it is able to take all the perquisites for the governor, for the state members of the state houses that are at par across the country, the same. And there is no confusion, there's no problem. They have chosen to downplay the issue of workers' entitlements.
I will beg NLC to look at the pay of the local government workers and the teachers in this country. They are those who are worst off. If they can get their 18,000 minimum wage as at when due, they will be satisfied.
A divergent opinion emphasizes objectivity on the part of workers in view of the federal government bailout funds to states.
It is easy for the working class to point accusing finger at the political class that comes and goes. What about the working class that has been there for the past 30 years, 60 years? You only hear about issues that border on their welfare, salary. What happens to Nigeria?
There are conditions of service that must be looked at if we want to belong to the present world. And the question has been, should we downsize to be able to raise standard?
Entrenching effective price control, many believe will help in strengthening their government-workers relationship.
If government should be able to control the price of produce, then the civil servant could as well manage.
There are strong belief that the Muhammadu Buhari-led government will continue to give the labor force the needed support in building a vibrant economy. Talatu Ezirike, NTA News.
Many thanks, Talatu. We're now taking another short break for some messages. News Extra will continue shortly. Join us again.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC impacts upon everything we do, including water we drink, the food we eat. They are important organs to the development of this country. And everybody should come out and join them and support them and help them to achieve the greatest benefits and success that they need to record.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
TV Guide magazine is out with fabulous Fab Funke Akindele Bello, aka Jennifer, adorning the cover. She opens a secret not known even to her family. Find out the secret. NTA turns 40 this year. The challenges, the emerging trends in broadcasting, and the way forward. Weekend Dealer 2. Meet the team behind the biggest deal on NTA. Is food still the way to a man's heart? If not, what else? This edition is hot and juicy. Meet your star faces on screen. Entertainment, fashion, young minds, social media, and great personality.
This is idiosyncratic and heterodox.
Yes, Professor John Bull is on the radar. Find out what makes this program the rave of the moment on NTA Network. And for the Prof,
over and out.
TV Guide. Ask your vendors or book your copy at every NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament.
The benefits that accrued in school sports, it is the bedrock of any nation.
A few Nigerians wanted the status quo to continue. So I don't think we should put all Nigerians and say Nigerians don't follow the trend, because the smart ones, we are following the trend.
The National Sports Lottery Fund, shrouded in secrecy.
The fact that the Super Eagles played an NTA, not only NTA, no Nigerian broadcaster, in fact, no broadcaster anywhere in the world from our records was able to bring that much. It's a matter of concern.
Issa Hayatu was president for 29 years. He lost the election in Addis, and that's it. He's gone.
Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA, Thursdays at 11 p.m. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
The eyes have it. If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
You're welcome back. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has implored Nigerians to channel their energies towards the development of the nation using their God-given talents. He was speaking at the inauguration of Dr. Onukaba Adinoye-Ojo Endowment Fund in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf has that report.
It was a solemn evening in honor of the late journalist, playwright, administrator, politician and scholar, Dr. Onukaba Adinoye-Ojo. From the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity Garba Shehu, it was all positive tributes to the deceased, who was described as a true man of talent, a gifted professional, and a man who will always be remembered for the quality of his art and person.
Even if Ojo were living, he will be working for his family. He will try to give the best education to his children. That's why I initiated this educational fund.
Not that he didn't see or earn money. Whatever he earned, he spent it on people. So I can bet my last penny on the fact that he died leaving behind nothing, absolutely nothing.
It was the opinion of many of the guests that the late Onukaba Adinoye-Ojo was not just a journalist, but also an intellectual.
He has lived a very humble life, a life of a selfless service, a life dedicated to the service of humanity.
And the true meaning of a friend in need is a friend indeed. That's Ojo for you.
It's not everybody who passes on, and we have this kind of quality, attendance, this kind of diversity.
The emotional wife of late Ojo described his death as monumental.
For honoring my husband, may God always honor them.
Onukaba Adinoyi Ojo was former managing director of the Daily Times and senior special assistant on media to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He died recently during a robbery attack while traveling between Ogun and Kogi states. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Next is another media icon, specifically in the broadcasting industry, who also passed away after a lifetime of service to his fatherland. Former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Dr. Patrick Itiohe, retired to a quiet life at his residence in Makurdi, Benue State. He mostly limited himself to his hobbies until his death last month. He was known for the epic TV series, Sunny Side of Life. In this next report, John Yaku takes a look at his life and times.
Late Dr. Patrick Itiohe is seen by most people as an icon of the broadcast industry and a seasoned administrator. He was born on the 26th of December 1941 at Awaji in Shangi-Tiew, district of Konshisha local government area of Benue State, to the family of late Itiohe Dem and his wife Ahe Ijombo. He started his primary education at St. Patrick's Catholic Primary School in 1949 at Uday, a small railway settlement in Guma local government area of Benue State. Little Patrick Itiohe later moved to St. Teresa's Catholic School, Jos, where he completed his primary education and proceeded to St. John's College, now Remy College, Kaduna, in 1955 and graduated in 1959.
The man who sent me to school, Reverend Father Oliver Smith, Societas Missionum ad Afros, he said to me, go into broadcasting.
He began his broadcast career in the same year as continuity announcer at the Northern Broadcasting Corporation, Kaduna. Dr. Itiohe later moved from radio to Benue Plateau Television while he continued with his academic pursuit. By 1978, he obtained his Master of Science degree in Mass Communication from Indiana State University, USA. He became an acting general manager, NTA Makurdi, in 1978, and later became the director of news, NTA Headquarters, Lagos, in 1983. His resilience and doggedness eventually saw him rise to the position of Director General of NTA on September 16, 1996. Prominent among his creative work is a television comedy program, The Sunny Side of Life.
The widening gap between the poor and the rich. My joy, you see, this is the time you are coming now, eh?
When the administrative block of NTA Makurdi Network Center was dedicated to him, he did not hide his appreciation.
I thank you very much. All you have done for me, may God Almighty reward you abundantly.
When he was the Director General of NTA, performed very well, that he challenged those of us who came behind him to make sure that, yes, we've got to do our best.
Dr. Patrick Itiohe in 1984 served as chairman Benue State Council of Arts and Culture. He is a recipient of the National Productivity Merit Award in 1988 and Officer of the Federal Republic, OFR, among others. Late Dr. Patrick Itiohe died at a private hospital in Makurdi at the age of 76. He left behind his wife, Anne Itiohe, and many children. In Makurdi, John Yaku, NTA News.
May his soul rest in peace. Still on our list, a bit on the global scene and some sports news. We'll be right back.
Yes, so no be only government go stop Lassa fever. Now everybody go put hands together to stop Lassa fever. We don't the years once more to say Lassa fever don't use style resurface for some part of this country them. But the Federal Ministry of Health say make you no panic. Now so they clean our house all the time. With chase rats come out. And if rats don't mood for our house, Lassa fever don't come out be that. Lassa fever get two symptoms. One are early stages where they bring fever, sore throats, vomiting, diarrhea, joint pain. The second stage now bunge, now they cause bleeding from the nose, eyes, spectrum. It go even they make blood to the come out from private part. Even cause swelling genital. Wake we stop to the shop of rats. Anyway, we rat fit enter our house. Make we block her. Don't forget, say, division of the universal health coverage. That to see, say, everybody they can't pay. Our God president, one man, want everybody make we stand with the bar. Yama no good for us, so he invite her. Sweat where they come up from person where get Lassa fever. Fit transfer the disease from one person to another. If you suspect any fever, we don't treat it with better medicine and you no go quick, or you suspect any person where get Lassa fever, make rush go any health facilities where they near you. Lassa fever must go. Now all of now go give them red card. Now Federal Ministry of Health bring on this message.
With gratitude and total submission to the will of God, the family of Dr. Patrick Itiohe announces the glorious exit of a legend, veteran broadcaster, and former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Dr. Patrick Itiohe, OFR, whose sad event occurred on Wednesday, 5th April 2017 after a brief illness. Burial arrangements are as follows. Wednesday, 3rd May 2017, there will be a requiem mass at St. Thomas Aquinas Major Seminary, New Chapel, Makudi at 5 p.m. Thereafter, a service of songs will follow at 7 p.m. till dawn in his residence, number 16, Patrick Itiohe Boulevard, High Level, Makudi. Thursday, 4th May 2017, his body will be conveyed from Benue State University Teaching Hospital at 3 p.m. to his country home in Awaji, Shangevtiev, Konshisha local government area, and lies in state till dawn for all-night service of songs. Friday, 5th May 2017, at 8:30 a.m., there will be funeral orations from dignitaries and sympathizers, while final interment will be at 12 noon prompt. Announcer Oliver Teolumun Itiohe for the family.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has dismissed reports that the Embassy of Nigeria in Washington, D.C. in the United States has been shut down over non-payment of salaries and poor working conditions. A statement by the ministry's spokesperson, Clement Onoja Aduku, says the embassy is functioning properly and discharging its statutory diplomatic responsibilities, though regrettably there is a delay in the payment of salaries to some junior workers at the mission as urgent efforts are being made to address the matter. Aftermath of party primaries in Kenya, more than 60 people, including a 7th member of the parliament, charged with various electoral offences, and Le Pen and Macron, the two presidential contenders in France, trade insults in a head-to-head TV debate ahead of the final round of voting on Sunday. For more reports, let's join Ronke Kolawole on Global Tidbits.
News from Kenya says religious leaders have castigated